I know exhaustion is actually catching up with us, but I believe that it's a serious issue, so we should try to tolerate. I just want to make an observation that we were actually late starting the program, and it's not my fault. So you guys will have to, I will be talking the way I want, and you guys will have to find the other time from somewhere. I just want to recognize all the comrades who are here. I've seen quite a number of the boys and girls who actually took up arms and fought in the struggle. And as he was saying, the usual slogan, which perhaps will wake us up, is to say, "Spill away." Now, I believe we are not doing this for ourselves, but we are doing this for the young boys and girls like this, who have actually died in the struggle. And I believe we're doing it to the generation to come, so we're not doing it for ourselves. So you just have to bear with us. I want to begin by saying that we have a saying back home where I come from in Meridi, that when you go to a party to dance, you shouldn't go to the dance floor and start dancing and expect the rhythm of the music to catch up with you. No, you wait until the music is on, then you go and catch up with the rhythm of the music. And that's what I've been doing all along since our discussions, I think, this morning. And one thing I noticed in the discussion is that we have been very sentimental about the issues of separation and the issues of unity. And to me, there is an underlying assumption that maybe unity is a favor, or separation is a favor. But I just want to remind everybody that unity is actually earned. You fight for it to get it. And separation is also earned. It's not a favor. You fight for separation and you fight for unity. So this business of us living in oblivion and scratching ourselves, feeling good whenever, even if something is not itching on our bodies, is completely wrong. We have to accept the realities. And I never mince my words. I normally say my words clearly the way they are. Okay? So, as it was stated before I came over, was sent by my command to the Naval Postgraduate School. I was actually heading the Department of Military Planning and Research at the headquarters of the SPLA. And apart from my regular duties as an active duty officer in the SPLA, I was also responsible or charged with the responsibilities of contributing towards the development of the South Sudan security strategy, and charged with the responsibility of developing the defense white paper for the SPLA, and also charged with the responsibility of developing our military strategy. Now, the military strategy is a confidential document, a classified document, which I'm not prepared to discuss with you here. But the other two documents, the South Sudan security strategy, the defense white paper on the SPLA, these are public documents for your consumption. So if you log in to the internet, you will actually get that. But one thing that struck me all along when we were discussing, is the fact that we have not been touching on the issues of security and defense the way as they are. We have not been doing that. And I believe that as we want to start grappling with that, there are just some few things that I should underline. You should take them quite seriously. You see, around 2004 and 2005, when the CPA was being discussed in Naivasha, one of the general concerns of everybody was the guarantee to the CPA. And I remember Dr. John constantly had to consult with the constituencies back home that to remind everybody, including us in the military, that the only guarantee that exists for the CPA is the military, is our defense. And if I'm not mistaken, Umar al-Bashir was equally talking to his constituency about the same thing, because he was equally being asked that what were the guarantees for the CPA. And he might have told his constituencies and the military that the guarantee for them is the military. So this is telling us how crucial the issue of security is and defense, which all along we tend to neglect. When we were talking about the allies early in the morning, I was expecting the military to be one of them, but that did not actually occur. Now, as we are talking about referendum now, I'm sure there are a lot of questions looming large in our minds. And the question is, what is going to be the guarantees of not only the future of Sudan, but also what is going to be the guarantees for the results of the referendum. And the one question I just want to ask all of you, that when the CPA was signed, it was mentioned by name in the CPA and in the different interim constitutions of Sudan and of South Sudan, that the SPLA, the Sudan People Liberation Army, shall be one of the armies of Sudan. So it is legally recognized in those documents. Now, suppose the result of the referendum comes out in favor of unity, and these young boys and girls who have the Kalashnikov, who have the AK-47, decide that they are not going to accept that. What will you do as politicians and activists? Suppose the result of the referendum favors separation, and those holding G3s and G4 in Khartoum decide that they're not going to recognize the result. What do you think will be the solution to it? So these are some of the concerns that have actually been bothering the leadership also in the military. And I'm not going to go into the details, but I'm just throwing them up to you. I've been reminded about the 5 minutes, and coming from a rebel background, we take our time. So I just want to walk you through some of the critical, issues. Within the headquarters of the SPLA, we did conduct a series of strategic assessments of the situation in Sudan, particularly with regards to the referendum. And we were able to come up with a series of consensus that is definitely going to be a number of challenges. And this is very important. You should take note of that. That's why the 5 minutes does not make sense to me. One of the key challenges is that the security environment in Sudan and even in the world is becoming extremely complex. It's becoming extremely, extremely complex. And certainly, the SPLA and perhaps the Sudan Armed Forces will not be waiting for the security environment to adjust and adapt to them. But it's up to the SPLA and the Sudan Armed Forces to adjust themselves to the complex security environment. That's an important challenge that you should keep bearing in mind. I'm raising them up, tickling your mind, so that you should keep thinking about them as we go along discussing the issues of referendum. The other important challenge that was identified was the fact that in an event of separation and the South become an independent country, does the SPLA have the capacity to protect and project the national security interests of that particular area? These are some of the questions that we have been grappling with, and you need to take serious note of that. And the other important challenge is that definitely the South, just like any other African country, will be facing with the challenges of intrastate conflict. These are our realities. The nature of security threats in Africa have actually been defined by intrastate conflicts within the countries. There are only a few countries that had interstate conflicts, such as the classical example is Ethiopia and Eritrea. And certainly Southern Sudan and Sudan at large is not going to be an exception to that. There will be a bunch of militias, there will be a bunch of boys who will cross the lines with their AK-47 and cause problems. These are the challenges. The other important challenge is that will the SPLA be able to engage regionally and internationally with some of the defense forces in issues of joint operations, in issues of peace support and training exercises. The other challenge is whether the SPLA will be able to contribute effectively to the issues of human security. And we have to place a footnote on that. When we talk about the issues of human security, we are talking about the SPLA accepting that it shouldn't have the lion's share of the budget of Southern Sudan and leave opportunities for the other sectors to also benefit from the resources, such as health, education, and so forth, you can mention. And then